The Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors, or RICS, are a worldwide organisation. Although our headquarters is in the UK, and in fact this is our 150th year, just this current year, we have members who are based throughout the world. About 130,000 professionals who work in all areas of the built environment, whether that be land, whether it be property, construction, infrastructure or appraisal. So if it's anything to do with land or property, our members somewhere out there are involved in it. Our purpose is actually all about standards. Whether that be setting standards of qualification or whether it be setting standards as far as the built environment is concerned. And if you've got standards, you need to make sure you have market adoption. Therefore, those standards are mandatory on all of our members. And also, if you have standards, you have to regulate those standards. So RICS has an independent regulatory arm that makes sure that members are abiding by those standards. One of the things that I and my colleagues have been involved in is on international standards, because as you'll appreciate, in the small world we work in with global players, whether they be global investors or global stakeholders, they need to be able to be certain that they're dealing with organisations around the world and people around the world who meet those same standards. And the problem we have at the moment is around the world there are a multitude of standards. And as an example, just one example, there is no set way until recently of how you actually go about measuring a property. Now, a lot of property, the valuation is based on the floor area. But if you've not got a standard way of agreeing what is and is not included in that floor area, then clearly it could affect the valuation. And more importantly, if you're that global player, that global investor, if you can't understand that 5,000 square metres in Sydney is not the same as 5,000 square metres in London or Hong Kong or Bali or wherever around the world, then it makes life very difficult. So one of the things RICS has been doing are playing a leading part in a coalition, and it has to be a coalition of like-minded bodies to actually agree things like international property measurement standards, how you do go about measuring those property, that property. International construction measurement standards, a major and important one, because up till now there's been a massive difference in the various definitions that are used in the construction projects. International land measurement standards is another one. Fire safety, very, very important. It's another area we're leading on. And the one that I've been dealing with is actually agreeing an international ethics standard. Now, that was set up with a coalition of only 16 not-for-profit organisations, including the RICS and FIABCI, who met in New York back in 2014 and said, let's have a standard, a standard that at a high level set of principles of ethics that everybody could abide by. Because unlike the lawyers or the accountants or the medical profession who have had a global ethical standard for decades, those of us in the built environment have not. So we got together with that, an independent group set out these 10 high-level standards after a lot of thought and consultation, and actually we've now got over 135 not-for-profit organisations as main members, and we've also now opened this up to supporter membership, and we've actually got already 140 business supporters, a lot of academic supporters, the leading universities and colleges around the world, and a number of government departments who've signed up for these because they understand the importance of agreeing a set of standards. So I believe personally that this standards work that I've been involved in does a massive job in bringing everybody together and, more importantly, giving trust and assurance to the stakeholders and to the public out there around the world.